Hello everyone, I'm the Hesnate Angel. Welcome back to another video. Sorry if I sound winded. I ended up talking for 17 minutes and there was a lot of pauses and I don't edit. I do not edit. If my Ladybug videos are any proof, I do not edit. So, I'm going to talk real quickly about this character, their history and our world, like how they developed them, their origins, and then what their origins in show or in manga would be. Hey ho, let's go. So originally this started out as a self-insert and their name was Alex because my name was Alex. They started out looking just like me, so at the time, long, straight, brown hair, hazelish blue eyes. I don't know what color my eyes are anymore. Sometimes they look blue, but some people claim they're hazel. Some people claim they're blue. And there's Sailor Fangirl, because I didn't realize I identified as non-binary. How this character started out is I read this fan comic on DeviantArt at the time called For King Hell. And it was if the Shintanel, as well as a bunch of other male baddies from Sailor Moon, came back to life and annoyed the shit out of them all. Can't read it on Smack Jeeves anymore, so I recommend going and reading what little they have of it on DeviantArt. It was never finished, but it was a good story, and it made me attracted to Jadeite. This was before he got Orochimaru's voice actor, and before they retranslated all the original Sailor Moon episodes. Sorry, had to burp. And I do not edit, which I would have had to with the last recording. Anyways, I started commenting on these, and a girl from Finland, I want to say, I believe she claimed to be from Finland, started commenting on my comments. And that's how I made my first pen pal or P partner, we'll call her. She went by MKN1990, so she must have been like 7 years older than me. In my other recording, I had ended up Googling her to make sure I got her username right. Apparently her DeviantArt account has been since deactivated. Luckily, some of our comments are still there. So, basically, there was a question on one because these pages used to have a comment thing, like, if you were in the Sailor Moon universe, blah blah blah. The one particular one that got me in contact with MKN was, if you were in the Sailor Moon universe and you were a villain, what would you collect? And I, being a Soul Eater fan at the time, said I would collect souls, and they'd probably be like animal-esque. So if I ever create a fan comic with this character, expect the main villain to be after souls or through concepts like innocent or something like that. With animal themes, because I like animals. Anyways, they commented on my comment saying, oh, like the Inuyasha villain. And I explained I had seen a few episodes of Inuyasha, but wasn't there yet. And eventually, I forget how, we got into this comments chain. It ended up lasting years and thousands of comments of this story we created together of our two characters. They started out as Sailor Fangirl and Sailor Fandream. I want to say she had the Fandream crystal to start out. And eventually they developed from self-inserts into actual characters. Mine became Sailor Moon Bunny, and it went from my appearance to more of what you're seeing on screen. A albino girl with fuzzy hair that she kept in space buns and red eyes, because I was just like, yeah, we're gonna go way into the whole rabbit graphics, or rabbit imagery on this one. And actually, the original character, she didn't have her hair in buns, but as time has gone on, I think it's a cute aesthetic. And I realize it's something the girls with really curly hair can pull off easily, which leads me to the headcanon that Chibiusa and Usagi probably have super curly hair. Anyways, and I believe hers was Sailor Elysium, I want to say, because she had the Elysium Dream Crystal. I forget a lot of basics about her character because it's been a while since I went on our chain and her account's deactivated now. So even if I could be like, hey, I forgot some specifics about your character. Can you explain them to me? She wouldn't respond. This became a thing I would do all throughout middle school, is I would wake up early, do my half of the comments, go to school, see her replies, do my half again, go to bed, or stay up a bit and comment to each other live. And this went on for years. Eventually, I stopped commenting because I was no longer in DeviantArt, and I moved to Tumblr. And I would occasionally still go to DeviantArt to comment with her, but it became more of like once a week, then once a month, and then I stopped altogether, and I feel bad because I never said goodbye to her before she went off of DeviantArt. So, then the character became just Sailor Moon Bunny, which was her name for the longest time. Even Sailor Star Moon, Sailor Moonstar, and like Star Moon Power and things like that. And they even did a fanfic with her and other characters like Sailor Eclipse and stuff like that. You can still find on fanfic.net if that even site is even functional. And her name stayed as Alex for the longest time, and she was an American girl that would move to Japan. And then here was her first backstory. She was Serenity's younger sister, Annabelle. And eventually her princess name would change from Annabelle to Tranquility, because Tranquility is another way of saying Serenity. Oh, sorry for that burp. Tranquility is another form of Serenity. And they had very much, her in this iteration before Frozen, but if you listen to the original Frozen soundtrack, the deluxe edition, and saw the deleted demos, or some of the original concepts, if I can speak today, they had a concept of the air and the spirit, and that was basically that storyline. Annabelle was angry because people saw her as just a spirit to her sister. She couldn't completely use the silver crystal, if at all sometimes, because she was not the rightful heir. So she ended up running away a lot to Earth because it became a comfortable place for her, because it's where Serenity would bring her to calm her down. And she fell in love with the Earth Knight Jadeite. Silver Millennium Destruction happens. She's reborn in America, far away from her sister, which is the explanation for why she wasn't involved in the early Sailor stuff. She, as well as a few other characters such as Sailor Eclipse, Sailor Earth, and Sailor Sun, end up joining them. The reformed baddies, blah blah blah, similar Four King Hell plot, but more evil and less living with Mamoru and hijinks ensuing. But that story never really went anywhere because I realized the concept wasn't fully whole. So I discontinued that story saying, hey, maybe I'll start again someday. And I may do a comic, I may do a fanfic with this iteration of her. She is no longer Alex, an American girl going to Japan. She is born and raised in Japan. Her name is Kosagi, similar to the Sailor Parallel. But this kind of keeps on with the theme because her princess name is Tranquility. So each form of her name, when she's reborn, is a version of Usagi's. Serenity is Tranquility, meaning Tranquility, Usagi or Usako, Kosagi. And she goes by the nickname Mochi, because that was actually her name in a never published fanfic. She was Mochi, and so that's her nickname that Jadeite gives her, similar to how Mamoru calls Usagi Usako. Most people call her Ko-chan, though. So, let's go to her backstory. I basically got the basics of her backstory in the Silver Millennium fleshed out, so let's start there. Serenity and Endymion meet at a younger age. And this is before they are banned from visiting each other, and they become friends, and Endymion shares folklore of Earth. If you wish on a shooting star, the wish will come true. So one night, they're in the garden, and they see a shooting star. And they're starting to fall in love at this point, not that their parents know, and they're like, I wish we could have a bond that ties us together like parents do with a child. Because they're kids and they don't realize that it's the love that keeps people together, not children. They just see that as one whole thing. The shooting star lands, and there is a girl a few years younger than them in the hole. This is for me to explain how she's just barely younger than her parents. And basically, the shooting star was a star seed that was on its last length in probably the former Sailor Sun. And upon hearing its wish, used the last of their power to grant the wish, causing Tranquility to be the heiress to the sun. Now, their families see this and think, oh my gosh, this was never supposed to happen. A child that can inherit both the golden and the silver crystal is too powerful. Nobody can find out what she really is. So, Queen Serenity takes Princess Serenity and this new baby, who she decides to name Tranquility, so it's still keeping up with the name scheming of the moon, takes her up, and raises her a Serenity sister. All the adults in the Senshi know the truth about her. Princess Serenity and Prince she's technically the biological spawn between Princess Serenity and Prince Endymion. And the clashing of lunar and Terran genes is what causes the red eyes. This not only explains her red eyes, but explains Chibiusa's red eyes. Her hair is white, but in the sunlight, it will reflect all colors of the rainbow. Yellow, pink, lavender, and blue are like the more notable ones, depending on the phase of the moon. But her hair isn't really white, it's more translucent than anything. It just, when light hits it, it comes off as white, especially if sunlight or moonlight hits it. It gives off the appearance of being white. Anyways, she's raised like this for the longest time until they realize she's learned all she can on the moon, and she still needs to learn about Earth powers. So, even though Serenity's told it's forbidden for Lunarians to travel to Earth, they send her daughter there. Which, let's be real, Serenity wasn't following the rules anyways, so this just gives her more incentive to sneak to Earth. Upon her first week in Earth, Tranquility is kidnapped, just because she has some connection to the royal family, and these bandits think they can get big ransom off of Earth. They don't know what her real she's really an heiress to the Terran Kingdom. They don't know much about her. They just kidnap her, and due to some accident, she's trapped in a, box where Jadeite rescues her. This is her first interaction with Jadeite, and this is before he joins the Four Heavenly Kings. At this point, it's just Queensight, Nephrite, and Zoisite. I almost forgot their names for a second. And they're known as the three Heavenly Kings, but everybody knows there's supposed to be a fourth one representing South. Because if I remember correctly, Jedi represents South. Okay, so sorry, I'm a little burpy at the moment, but I need to record this so I have a video going up Monday. Jedi rescues this girl. She does not tell him her full name, instead goes by the nickname Serenity and Endymion call her, which is just Quill, short for Tranquility. And this becomes the name Jedi knows her as and calls her in princess form. He will refer to her exclusively as Quill if it's in the formal setting after he becomes a Heavenly King. After being trained for years, which is his reward for rescuing her, and he goes, "Would you like to train to be a guard?" And Jedi, because he knows it would help his family, goes, "Yes, please." Because again, it benefits his family to have the income of a soldier to the royal family. After he becomes a Heavenly King, he meets Quill again. And upon meeting her, he realizes she's not just some noble daughter who happened to be visiting the royal family. Because they kind of have to know, the Heavenly Kings get informed, "Hey guys, this is technically my daughter." And he explains the situation, and Jedi realizes his crush is very, very, very problematic. For many reasons. A, he is not of noble birth, and Tranquility is the daughter of two royal families of planets at that. And B, not only are they royal families in the Silmarillion are considered children of gods. As long as this, she's considered a reincarnation of a sun goddess. And he goes, "Okay, I have no shot with that." The Quill, because part of her admires him for saving her, and he treats her sweetly. Has already fallen for him. And he has a habit of giving her apples his parents send him, because he grew up on an apple orchard, because I like apples. And did you know apples and roses are considered in the same plant family? Because they're different plant families, as in just fauna. But directly, apples are considered, at least the flower counterpart of apples is considered a type of rose. And I always found that fascinating. And this leads to when she's reborn, Tranquility's favorite food being apples, her favorite flower being roses, and she in particular likes apple pies, and her favorite tea is an apple-rose fusion tea. And that's what she primarily drinks. But, yeah. They become close, and then here's where I kind of veer off into my own canon, because if it's a fanfic, I can do what I want. There is concept art of the Shintanel and the four inner sentient together, so Venus and Kunzite, Mercury and Zoisite, even though, because I grew up on the original anime, Zoisite and Kunzite will always be gay lovers to me. Jedi and Jupiter, and they say Jedi and Jupiter, Nephrite and Jupiter, and Jedi to Mars. So, how do you want to retcon this into working in this? They weren't in love with the inner sentient, they had an arranged marriage to solidify Earth being part of the Silver Millennium Alliance. Aha. Except they don't want Serenity to marry Endymion, but once they marry, they'll have to announce who Tranquility really is, which again would put her in danger. And here's the kicker. Tranquility kind of doesn't want to be royal. She sees being loyal as is Selvak. She can't marry who she wants. She's probably going to have an arranged marriage for all these rules Nora people that regular people who work on farms don't have to worry about. So she kind of wants to renounce the throne. This will come into play much later in the Crystal Tokyos when it comes back into play. Anyways, the arranged marriage stuff is kind of why the Shintano joined Beryl in this version of the story, because they don't want to marry people they don't love. Kunzite and Zoisite love each other. Nephrite haven't decided who he loves. Maybe he'll stay a bachelor forever. Go him. Maybe he ends up in a polyamorous relationship. Whatever. Go Nephrite. And Jadeite, of course, fell in love with Quill. So they join Beryl. Shenanigans go down. And kind of for me, it's just like, oh, girl would kill herself to just over a guy. I don't care how much you love him. I'm gonna live for me. For me, this is another version where I retcon things to actually fit. If Serenity lost both her daughter and her love in the same day, she would believe she truly had nothing to live for, especially if she doesn't know if her mother's made it. She, in the field, I haven't decided how Tranquility is. Maybe she's poisoned beforehand, maybe Jedi of Mercy kills her after she's stabbed by another Earth soldier, maybe a character who will come up later. Basically, astronomy or astrology, I get those confused. Anyways, scientifically, there may be a planet at the very edge of the solar system, past even Saturn? And so, Nemesis could actually make sense. Namco might have predicted Nemesis. For the sake of canonicity, it will be called Nemesis. They actually had a prince during the Civil War, who later becomes the villain known as Wiseman. But he shows up and wreaks havoc in modern time for a bit. So, maybe Quill dies because of him. Maybe not. He's kind of in on this attack with the evils of Earth. She sees Quill dead. She's distraught. Her and Demian still have something to live for. If they can get to the Silver Crystal, they might be able to save her. And then she can't find Queen Serenity. And Demi gets hit by Beryl protecting her. And she can't find her son. She sees them on the battlefield, nearly dead. And she's distraught. She's lost everyone. So that's when Serenity commits the big die. Am I gonna get flagged for anything in this? Yeah, probably. I mean, it's a well-known fact that in Sailor Moon, especially in the manga, that Serenity commits the big die. But like in 14 Hell, I'm kind of mixing canicities. So there are some aspects of the anime that are canon, and some aspects of the manga that are canon. And I'm kind of picking and choosing some, I like you. I like you. I like some of the live action stuff. I'm mouth picking. So, la-di-da, thousands of years pass, they're reborn. Usagi and her generation, her stuff happens with Chibiusa and stuff. Pluto's the only one who kind of knows that. Yeah. There's the first daughter they're going to have to worry about. Well, she says, oh, your future selves don't have any more kids. I kind of use that as one of those things where, technically she just said future self. She never said past self, so I can still retcon myself in there. So, because she knows it cannot be revealed for many reasons, that Tranquility was also reborn in the form of... Am I getting unsafe? Sorry, my sister and roommate was asking me something. My sister's my roommate. Housemate, actually. So, Kosaki is the first name of tranquility in this time. She goes by Ko-chan, mostly because once she meets the Senshi, Kosaki and Usagi, as well as if Chibiusa ever showed up, would be extremely confusing because the three uses. Kosaki's last name is up in the air. It's either going to be something like Oshihi, meaning star and sun, because the sun's technically the star. Star, sun, sun. It's probably just going to be Hoshino, because that's easy for me to remember and what I call her most of the time, and the sun's the star and fight me. And I was going to originally just call her Hina, and then I remembered that's her name. So, Hoshino. So she still fits with the inner, naming scheme of planet-related thing. No. She goes to an all-girls school with different uniforms, which is the uniform you see pictured. Ain't it cute? I used those colors on purpose because it's kind of a way to connect her with Moon with the primary colors. Anywho, she is reborn, but you'd think, hey, wouldn't the enemies target her at some point because Starseed's dream mirror? This is where I'm just I can retcon my way out of this. And it's why the Shintano don't have any memories of the Golden Kingdom or her. Jay in particular, his last, he used the last of his power before he died and was reborn on Earth as evil Jedi to seal her away. Part of him realizes, no, he's gonna survive this. The best I can do is ensure the princess is reborn and that she's happy in her life, which means not being royal. So he seals all her memories away, but also uses his, and this is why I kind of take from Forking Hell. He and the other Shintano don't have souls, because I'm gonna make up reasons the other dudes don't. He, in particular, gave up his soul to seal away not only her memories, but anybody's memories of her, and to hide her from future enemies that might go after the Silver Crystal. So basically, his energy is shielding her to where she looks like average-ass human. And she'll get these bad feelings whenever she's about to enter, during the Dark Kingdom days. Jedi sets up the thing at the amusement park. Let's say she's at the amusement park for some odd reason, because maybe she feels a draw to Jadeite, but she doesn't realize it's Jadeite that's drawing her there. She gets a bad feeling about the castle that he's holding all his bullshit in. So she physically avoids the castle the entire time, and Jadeite can't sense she's there. And even when he eternal sleeps or freezifies, it stays there because that's where his soul is. So, Ollie and Anne come through. Don't sense her. She gets a bad feeling whenever bad vibes come out. Black Moon comes. They don't sense her or realize that she is one of the royal family because Jadeite's BS soul protecting her. Same with Galaxia, how she doesn't realize that there's a... whatever you say, Stoic. She doesn't realize there's a Sailor Crystal Starseed there. And two, everybody's favorite BS boy, Wise Man, who I haven't decided on his name. His name used to be Odin, but I spelled it Odin because I didn't realize that was a Norse god. But I'll retcon his name. I'm going to call him Jet. Yeah, Jet. Like for the crystal. Jet Black. Jet, who will eventually become Wise Man, is searching for her, in particular, because, well, It's not like a diamond situation where it's just like, she's so beautiful, I must have her. It's more of a creepy fear of mine that's a serial killer is going to kidnap me and turn me into a doll. Like, I think that'd be horrifying, so I'm like, I must incorporate it into the story, obviously. Basically, he is the prince/king of Nemesis, because all other royal lines to Nemesis have pettered off. So, he's technically the king, but Prince sounds so much more evil because I grew up on Sailor Moon and Prince Diamond was horrifying. I don't care what the fuck you say, Prince Diamond was the scariest villain because he could be real, like a dude forcing himself on a woman. It just got worse as I read the manga. So, it comes looking in particular for the Princess of the Sun because of her unique features. Like, ideally, he'd like to collect all of us, and anybody with particularly unique features. This means if you have heterochromia, he wants to up and kidnap you, turn you into a living doll. He's the Sun goes like, I'm going to make it seem like I'm just your average-ass villain, so they can do my hard work for me. And the reason he in particular wants Sailor Sun is, A, if he captures her, he can use her power over both the golden crystal and the silver crystal, as well as she had a unique beauty for the Silver Millennium because the only way in the Silver Millennium for somebody to have red eyes was if somebody from I'm spaced on the word for a second, the Lunar Kingdom and somebody on the Terran Kingdom or Earth Kingdom produced an offspring. Somehow that's the only thing that could lead genetics to red eyes in his time. So because they were so rare in his own time, he has particular English is not great, interest in her because of that. But also because even when he discovered that it isn't as rare on modern Earth, because albinism exists, freckles in albinos are rare. And she goes, she's still a rare beauty, but also, she has the potential to unlock a whole lot of power for moi. So, he causes minor havoc, lures the Sunshine hiding, but realizes they don't know shit. They don't realize the princess out there. So what does he do? He summons your also loyal band of assholes. It's okay. Jedites, Nephrite, Zoisite, Kunzite. I realize you don't remember your princess. I need you to find the Sailor Senshi of the Sun for evil purposes, since they don't remember her. And eventually they discover that there's a human that's flying under their radar. They don't know why, and Jedi in particular cannot sense her. For her protection is something he did, because he realized, if I don't have my memories, Barrow might be able to sway me over to the dark side again. And then he notices whenever there's a crowd, there's a particular human he can't sense. And he kind of looks he doesn't mean to be a creep about it, but there's no way to describe it without being creepy. He sees her and he gets interested in her because he cannot physically sense her. So what does he do? He creates a civilian identity and gets close to the girl and realizes, but she's kinda cute. She kind of his type. He thought Ray was his type. Turns out he just likes elegant girls with fiery personalities. He ends up going separate dates, and then some in him goes, I cannot sell her out to Jet. Just not gonna happen tonight. Or ever. And that's when Jet drops the bomb, like, on Zoisite, Kunzite, and why do we always blank on Nephrite? He's just like, I think Jedi's getting soft. He's fallen for this human who honestly bears likeness to the girl we're looking for. You convince him to bring her in we have access to both the golden crystal and the silver crystal. I don't know how he knows all this, but he does, because plot. I'll figure out a way he knows it when I actually write the thing. Anyways, he goes after her, and he almost gets her a couple of times, but this energy forces them all back. And then Luna realizes, as she realizes this kid is showing up at a lot of the attack sites, she looks familiar. Oh no. But it can't. And she's just like, you know what? If the Senshi don't say anything, I won't say anything. Because so far, I'm the only me and Artemis are the only people who remember her, as well as Setsuna, and they just kind of share this eye contact, like, we're not going to mention anything until somebody else does. Okay? Okay. And just think that maybe she has an extraordinary amount of energy. Maybe he's for whatever he's after. Maybe, for this sake, we'll say maybe he's after, like, the concept of innocence, like, childlike wonderment is what innocence will be based off in this. That way, because even though we all know Usagi's had sex at this point with Mamoru, if you pay your attention to the manga, they've had it. She's still a good source of this innocence he needs to power. Like, he sees it as the strongest force of power to power his evil. Why that changes in the future is not my problem. I'm gonna say it's due to him being kept on this planet for years for being an asshole. For this particular reason. And trying to cause an uprising in the early 30th century. Fuck you, man. So, they didn't say anything until Chibiusa comes. And straight up looks at Jen like, why aren't you flirting with her? And Jen's like, excuse me? She goes, yeah. You're like my brother-in-law. And then Mamoru and Usagi are just like, excuse me, you have brothers or sisters that are gay for that? And she's just like, technically, she's not my sister, but technically she is. And she explains, I have an older sister. She was Endymion Serenni's daughter in the Silver Millennium, was reborn with everybody else, and is the Senshi of the Sun. And they're like, why didn't you say this sooner? She goes, I don't say a lot of things, such as Neptune, Uranus, and Saturn. And everyone's just like, touche. And they're like, how do you know about her? And she's just like, because she's my older sister. She's just gone a lot because she's all for repopulating planets. And so she's gone a lot on business like that. And they're like, hey Pluto, why didn't you mention anything? She was like, I was sworn to secrecy for a lot of things. Notice how I didn't explain that that one was your child either. And I never said you don't have any more kids. I just said you don't have any more future kids. She was just like, I need a history lesson. And it was just like, shit. So you and Endymion wished on a star and got another biological child. And she bears a striking, and the kid that Jedi's been flirting with bears a striking resemblance. And yeah. She may be the Senshi of the Sun, but even we can't detect her power or know what will awaken her. Instead of being a complete ripoff of the Sailor Moon manga and it being Jedi getting hurt, it's Usagi and Mamoru getting hurt because they end up becoming close to her as an effort to not only open her memories, but open their own to remember what she was like. Because part of them knows they're going to be great parents to Chibiusa, but they have this whole other-ass kid they've never met and never got the chance to interact with. And so part of them wants that. They want to see what their other daughter's like. And honestly, Ko-chan just says, these are cool people. And all of her interactions with Jedi start as, and like even with the Senshi at first, start as slight mirrors to how Usagi met each of them, and that's how each of them kind of like realizes there's more to the scroll than it seems. So like, Ami met Usagi at school and then they bonded over the arcade game. Ami first meets her at a study thing that they're both in. And it's from like combined classes because they weren't having enough students to have each person have a certain number of individuals of a certain grade, so they end up in the same one, and that's how they meet, similar to the Crystal Seminar being one of the key things that linked Usagi and Ami at first. Rei gets a huge connection to Ko-chan because Ko-chan started to develop a crush on Jedi, who's realizing he might be this villain that's been attacking. Goes for a love charm and a protection charm to the thing and gets attacked by Phobos and Deimos. Not to the point of Usagi, because she has a slight connection to the Phoenix, because I associate phoenixes with the sun. As soon as they start attacking her, she just kind of instinctively reaches out her hand, and one of them just lands on her, and she starts going, "Wait, cute birds!" And Rai's flabbergasted, because the last time they attacked somebody was Usagi, and it was funny. She meets Makoto, not like the Usagi in her first meeting, but they end up bonding over food. Because again, I'm not sure about sorry about the knuckle cracking, my hands are getting stiff. They end up bonding over food because they both are in the store to buy new handkerchiefs for their lunch, because maybe both theirs ripped. Again, her home life story is a bit shaky, but it's probably she's an orphan, but I'm debating whether she has adoptive parents or not, or if she kind of lives on her own like Makoto and Mamoru. I'm leaning more towards she kind of lives on her own, and that really makes Mamoru just father instincts zone in. That's how she meets Makoto, and they bond over different recipes they had, and they end up trading recipes. However, she meets Mina by not the Sailor V game, because they're all playing the Sailor V game, and then they see somebody crushing it on Dance Dance Revolution, because I like Dance Dance Revolution even if I suck at it. See somebody scoring high on Dance Dance Revolution, walk over, and Mina in particular sees it's this skull that keeps showing up. And she doesn't meet Usagi and Mamoru in the same way, dealing with the concept of she accidentally runs into both of them after having a fight of some sort, maybe with a friend, maybe with an ex, in the park, when they're just it's too peaceful right now. What's going on? Why haven't we noticed it? But how she meets Jadeite is similar to the original meetup between Usagi and Mamoru. It's kind of flipped on its head. To kind of keep themselves secret, the students know all have developed civilian identities, and Jadeite, realizing he knows nothing about modern day, failed in the quiz, was screwed, he yeets it, hits this girl in the head, and she's just the fuck, Blondie? He's just I do not need to be told off by a literal mochi bun. And he calls her this because mochi buns are traditionally white rice with a red bean filling. Her hair is really white with a slight ginger's tinge, and her eyes are red, a bean filling. So this is why he calls her Mochi. And this becomes an ongoing nickname he has for her. He'll call her Mochi, Mochi Pon. She goes, "My name isn't Mochi, it's Kusagi." He goes, "That's a mouthful. I'm calling you Mochi." And it becomes an affectionate nickname, similar to how Bunhead became an affectionate nickname for Usagi before Sun became a thing. Yeah. I haven't worked out D. I know the story of how everybody plays into it. But yeah, she went from being a self-insert to a Mary Sue, and I'm just I'm gonna retcon her way into the series. And honestly, there's nothing bad with that. Everybody can have their own getting on the characters, and honestly, Mary Sue's are kind of the funnest parts about fandoms. I love reading stories of Mary Sue's because we all want to be that character, no matter what. Also, some of my best fanfic work has been transferred from the idea of the Mary Sue. So if somebody says, this character's a Mary Sue, I'm just like, yeah. Does it make you enjoy the story? Yes? No? Then shut up. Yeah, and that's just the current idea on things if I were to do a comic based off her. If you want to see, like, in this style, what her original designs looked like, let me know. I had really fun, like, going over my oldest character with you guys. In the current Sailor Moon-esque style. Because I have many like styles I call mock styles. And this is just mock Sailor Moon style. It's very much taken from the Sailor Moon Eternal because that's pretty much the summer style to the 80s and 90s anime, which was one of the biggest things about my anime awakening. Also, sometime I need to do a video based off of how no character in Sailor Moon in the main cast is straight. It may say, Mamoru, and not even him, honey. So that's for my oldest fan character and how them and their story has transformed over time. Again, I might do this with other characters in the future, or I might like show her original concept in this style, or I might go over my sister's, as she calls them, cringy original Homestuck OCs, which I don't find them cringy. I don't find anything cringy. But yeah, for me, it's fun to look over old characters and see how I can revamp them. This is a character that's been revamped over and over. Fun fact, the drawing portion of these took over 3 hours to do because I wanted to, if I was going to do this character, I was going to do it right, because for me, it's my oldest character and one of the most well-known in my hearts. I have other characters that are technically older, but they don't have as much sentimental value as this one. Not even, like, if you've seen my sketchbook tours. My Jigglypuff character, Susie. Not even she has such a place in my heart as this one. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and let me know if you're interested in more things like this in the future. Bye!